Okay, hey everybody, this is George. I'm back with another videotape interview on our questions day with an unsuspecting family. I'll pan this around so you can see. There's brother Willis Bright and his lovely wife Linda, and an upcoming famous artist, best kept secret, Mr. Toran. Toran, that's your last name?
Teron McDuff.
Teron McDuffie, famous name. Keep that name in mind. And we have Mr.
Chris Pfeiffer.
Chris Pfeiffer, software engineer expertise, and outsourcer of the cookies.
Yep.
So today we are going back to examine the question that they do not know what it is. This is brand new, and they were willing to be my unsuspecting guinea pigs. So the question today is, are you your color, or are you your culture? You know, I'm doing the work addressing racism and the race construct from a mental health perspective. And so the first chapter of my book, Beliefs Limiting Authentic Cultural Knowledge, addresses the concept of identity. So this is a question of identity. Do you identify by color or by culture? So who wants to go first? Okay, Mr. Teran McDuffie.
I identify myself off culture because I don't look as color as a difference. I feel like two people can find the same things as their habits, their favorite things to do, and just be different colors. Like, I feel like only thing is changing is cultures, but I feel like all colors is the same to me.
So what's the name of your culture?
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, well, you said you're not your color, right? You're your culture. So what's the name of your culture?
I guess I don't really know what to call it. I just know
What makes you your culture? What are the things that make your culture unique to you?
well, my family really, whatever they taught me as a young age is always what I'm gonna live by, because that was my lessons. That what I was taught is the only way that I can live by is what they taught me from a young age, or from what they went through at my age, and that keeps going on, and I feel like that built the culture in our family of what they taught.
Okay, so your family culture.
Yeah.
Okay. But you don't, and you reject color again because why?
Because I feel like I'd have met people that was different colors but the same as me. So I can't look at a color as a different change of a culture or anything like that.
Okay.
I just look at it as you're lighter or brighter than me.
Gotcha. So love the answer. Miss Bright?
Oh, thank you, George. I really like the question. I don't necessarily see color out of context. And when I say that, I'd rather believe that instead of using the word diversity, we might want to use the word plurality.
Love that. Love that.
In the future, we will see that access, equity, the principles that make us a culture would be better served if we went back to looking at our phases of evolution from civilization to civil war to civil rights, all driven by the concept that color was what made us different. If we look at culture in the sense of being humane human beings and deciding on our values or our principles that drive our living as opposed to our existing or our consuming, we might be in a place of evolution toward being humane human beings. And that would lead us to civility, which would be the highest form of culture, principle, embrace, so that we could have more peace. And I think taking communication, whether it be through music, through art, through face-to-face conversation, is the conversion factor from where we stand at this point,
Yes.
divided by race, divided by any of the isms, because of our perception of what perfection might be, or preferred. Perfection, preference, prejudice, they all kind of sound the same when you stop to think about it. So using words that mean more of what we want them to mean,
Be intentional about your words.
intentional
Yes.
language,
Love it.
then
Yes.
the culture of communication then sets the culture of the nation, of the world. And right now we have a global divide, because on every continent, in every country, in every state, city, and even home, there is a struggle, a competitive
Yes.
nature that has us wondering whether or not anybody will survive
Yes.
because of our culture of
Culture of
competition.
Beautiful. So two things that you ended with a great one: culture of competition. That really describes very accurately what we're dealing with right now. But I love how you are reframing diversity into plurality. I love that. So that I'm going to play with that one. I learn something new every time I do this process, because this has to work with everybody's perspectives. There's no one way to do this. Thank you, Ms. Bright.
Don't forget the communication is the conversion factor.
Communication is a conversion
That's a
factor.
good one.
Yes. Mr. Chris Pfeiffer,
Yeah, that was a great answer. Can you remind me the question one more time?
this is an identity question
All right.
addressing the race construct and how it makes us see ourselves. So do you identify, and again, there's no right or wrong way, it's just how you honestly see it.
Okay.
Do you identify as a color or as a culture?
I think I identify more as a culture because, I was able to grow up, in a fortunate situation where I wasn't worried about food or having some place to stay or anything like that. But part of the culture of my family was to understand that not everyone in the world or even in our own city had that, and that you should try to understand and interact with other cultures as well. And so I've tried to live that out by not seeking to necessarily always stay around people who have had similar lives to me. So interacting with people who are different. So living with someone who was from Egypt, something I do. I did in college, and going out to lunches regularly with some coworkers of mine who were from different parts of the world, like Ethiopia and South Africa and India. And so, yeah, I think I identify more as a culture of people who just want to get out of their comfort zone.
And is there a specific name to your culture? Do you have a name to that?
I can't think of a name for it, but I think the culture that I strive for is where it's like the ability to be comfortable, but purposely getting out of your comfort zone from time to time.
But in terms of your ethnicity, your genealogy, your DNA, you don't really have a name for that, right?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
It's just
Okay, gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. All right, thank you for your honesty on that.
Thank you.
And Mrs. Bright, I forgot to ask you, do you have a name for your culture? Because you said you identify by culture. Do you have a name for your culture?
Very specific question. I would say because our family gatherings look like United Nations, and an international corporate picnic or gathering, I would say humane humans being culture.
Okay. All right. That we can work with that. Now I saved the best for last. This is the powerhouse, Mr. Willis Bright. Good friend, excellent golfer, and he always has some heavy knowledge. I'm really looking forward to his perspective.
Well, I've been overwhelmed by the knowledge of the other people in the room, so I'll keep mine brief. I identify with African American culture, and by that I mean I identify with the history and experiences of African people who have lived and created multiple lifestyles, but in America, but who had a common experience ancestrally in slavery, and who have evolved from that to create and generate many incredible things, who've created a sense of not only an ability to survive, but to flourish. So a tenacity, a persistence, a courage that comes out of having forces of oppression come down on you, and to also define you as less than. And then your ability to literally make lemonade, very sweet lemonade, out of lemons.
Right.
The ability to take that heat and form yourself into something that can be productive not only for your own, but influence the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Because we have influenced the rest of the world through our music, through our art, just through our being, while we've also been corrupted by some of the same forces that have continued to press down on us. I would also say that African American culture has given me an opportunity to be multicultural. And because I've had an opportunity to travel over much of the world, I've had an opportunity to see that peoples around the world have a lot of things very much in common. They love their children, they love their families, they identify with those. They want to have work that allows them to express themselves. So I am a part of a world culture of people who want to use their God-given talents, and however they call that God, whether it's Buddha or whatever,
Yes.
to enhance and care for those they most love, but also to benefit the larger society. So while I am rooted in and identify with African American culture, especially its major motivations and achievements, that has not prevented me from being a world citizen and being part of a universal culture of human progress that is rooted in the definition that we were born to be the best that we can be and to aspire to be God's.
Ooh, wow. Brother, I did not know that. That's why I saved you for last. That was awesome. That was awesome. So this was a good process. I love this. I learn something new every day. Plurality instead of diversity. Communication is our conversion process. And Brother Bright just ended that beautifully. More of a global culture of not exclusive of excluding of differences, but focusing on a lot of the similarities that we share. Very good stuff. And I think everybody here rejected the identity based on color. Correct? Okay. Thanks for taking some time to share with us. And thanks for the dinner. And thanks for the cookies, Chris.
You're welcome.
Cookies by Chris.
By way of.
See you guys.
Yes, sir.